Very few people are ever in the perfect financial shape to have a baby, but there are some things you can do to be in a better spot as you look to grow your family. And that's why our friend Kristen Luma with HerPlanning is here today to chat about this very topic. Welcome in.
Thanks for having me.
It's always great to have you. First of all, these numbers. That's a lot of money for a kid.
It's a lot of money. So their most recent numbers say that over the course of their lifetime, till they're 18, it costs between about $300,000 and $330,000 to raise a child. This is until they're 18, so this does not count college, which is maybe another $300K if you consider that number inflated out.
She said $300,000.
It's a lot of money.
When you look at the first year, you're planning to have a baby. Where do you start? Maybe looking at your current financial situation and your budget and finding areas?
Yeah, so figuring out what you're going to want for your child is important. As most people know, the biggest expense, or one of the larger ones, is going to be childcare. So if you're planning on putting your child in daycare, an infant in Tulsa might be around $950 to $1,050 a month. And so just thinking through where could we find that in the budget, and then, of course, the cost of housing, maybe an increase in your healthcare cost, maybe you're upgrading your home. So just considering what you'd even want and then working backwards to figure out if we want that, what could we give up to make that happen, or could we make more money to make that happen?
And you're also coming off hospital bills, of
Yes.
having the baby. What do you recommend people, maybe time frame wise, to start thinking about this before you're even pregnant? I'm assuming.
Yeah, explore your benefits. So if you have health insurance currently, maybe going on your employer's website or the health insurer's website just to figure out what your benefits would even be, what your out-of-pocket costs might be. And if we just passed open enrollment last fall, but I would have said pick the nice expensive plan last fall if you know you're having a baby this year. And then, of course, next year if you're planning, considering that for open enrollment later this year.
So you found a way to budget in the daycare and everything that a baby costs. There's extra things you probably could do to plan ahead. What are some of those things?
So looking towards the future, we've already kind of touched on college. Saving for college is not a priority for everyone. And I really would say, it's the gravy on top. Prioritize your retirement. But if you were going to save 100% for your child's in-state tuition, you'd need to save maybe around $300 a month in something like a 529 plan to make that happen. More, of course, if you're thinking about out-of-state school or private school, so up to maybe $650 a month. And again, I know that's not in everybody's budget to do, so definitely do what you can. Consider maybe contributing cash gifts from friends and family to a 529 plan, getting started at $50 a month, just to kind of get the habit of saving for the future going.
And no one wants to think about, having to use life insurance, but, what do you recommend regarding that?
Risk management's a real important piece of the puzzle. So adding more to your emergency fund, because of course you are spending more on a monthly budget. So your 3 months worth of expenses that goal is now larger. Considering the what if of life insurance, if something were to happen to me, do I want my child to be able to pay for college, replace some of my income to the household? We're looking at roughly 10 to 15 times whatever the top income earner in your household makes as like a general rule for what you need. And then considering disability insurance. If I couldn't go to work for a long time due to an illness or injury, that greatly impacts the money coming into the household. Can we get insurance to take care of some of that loss of income if it happens? So just covering your basis. And the final thing, estate planning. What would happen to your child if you and your spouse or partner were no longer in the picture? How do we make sure that they have the custodian that you would want set up and assets get to them as well?
Absolutely. Awesome tips as always, Kristen. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.